Hello, my name is Eileen Metellus, and today I picked EV or electric vehicles as my emerging trend. I'm going to discuss what EVs are and how they work. I'm going to be talking about China's EV revolution, the major EV manufacturers we have here in China. I'm going to focus on one company in particular, which is BYD. I'm going to talk about the competitors of EV, the pros and the cons, and why should we purchase EV cars. Okay, let's get into it. What are EVs and how do they work? So EVs typically stands for electric vehicles, which are powered by electricity stored in a rechargeable battery instead of a gasoline or diesel fuel. EV cars have an electric motors and they don't produce tailpipe emissions. They can be powered by renewable energy source such as solar or wind. Examples of EVs include all electric vehicles, plug-in hybrid electric cars, electric buses, or even electric bikes. China's EV revolution. China is currently the world's largest market for EV vehicles, with 44% of global EV cars sold in 2020. China is home to several EV companies, some of which are amongst the world's largest EV manufacturers in the world. Some example of EV companies based in China are BYD, NIO, Sykes, Chipeng, Geely, known also as Volvo or Polestar, the Great Wall Motors. Okay, let's go ahead and shift our attention for a second on one of the largest producers of EV in the world. Uh, they're called BYD, which stands for Build Your Own Dreams. They were founded in 1995 here in Shenzhen, China. When they started off as a leading technology company. They were a major producer of batteries, including lithium ion batteries, which are used in electric vehicles and energy solar system. In the early 2000s, they shifted their focus to electric vehicles. In 2008, the company introduced its first plug-in hybrid vehicle, and at that time, Warren Buffett decided to buy shares of the company. As of 2020, he owned 21% of BYD. In 2009, they decided that they wanted to go ahead and do an all electric vehicle, which was used as taxis in Shenzhen and later in other cities in China and around the world. Today, like we mentioned before, they're one of the largest producers of electric vehicles in the world with a range of model available, including passenger cars, buses, trucks, trains. They have more than 30 industrial parks across 6 continents, and there is zero emission solution focused on energy generation and storage. The company has also been recognized for improving air quality in China, mainly through its electric buses and taxis. So, when we think about EV, obviously there we need to have a competition for EV. And what's the competition? The competition from EV comes from traditional cars that we've been driving for centuries. They're conventional gasoline powered vehicles, ICE, internal combustion vehicles. And in 2020, ICE vehicles accounted for 95% of total global passenger car sales. Let's take a look at the advantages of owning a gas powered vehicle. The first one is affordability. They're less expensive than electric or hybrid vehicles, making them a more accessible option for buyers on a budget. Range. Gas cars have a long range and can travel hundreds of miles on a single tank. It's convenience. Gas cars are widely available and can be refueled at gas stations nationwide. This makes them a convenient option for long distance travel. It's worth noting that while gas cars have these benefits, there are also environmental and health impact that comes with owning a gas car. For example, environmental impact contributes to air pollution, climate change through the emission of greenhouse gases and other pollutants. This can have a negative impact on public health as well as on our ecosystem. Fuel costs. Gasoline is a non renewable resource, and as such, the price can be subject to fluctuation in the global market. This can lead to unpredictability of fuel costs that can be a burden for drivers on a tight budget. Also, maintenance. Gas cars require regular maintenance, such as oil change and tune-ups, which can add up over time. In addition, gas engines have more complex parts than electric motors, which can increase the likelihood of breakdowns and repairs. Noise pollution. Gas cars are typically louder than electric motors, which can contribute to noise pollution in urban areas. So when we look at all these factors, yes, there are benefits to owning a gas car, but there are also lots of downside to it as well. Why should you purchase an EV? This is a great question to ask when you're in the market of trying to buy a new car. There are several benefits to using electric vehicles compared to traditional gasoline powered vehicles. Environmental benefit. EV produce zero emission while driving, which can help reduce air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions that contribute to climate change. Energy efficient. They're much more energy efficient than gasoline cars, meaning they can travel further on the same amount of energy. This can help reduce energy consumption and cost. EVs have lower operating costs than gas vehicles as they require less maintenance. No oil change, for example, and the cost of electricity is typically lower than gasoline. EVs are much quieter than gas vehicles, which can be a benefit for drivers and passengers. They also have smooth acceleration and deceleration, which can provide a more comfortable ride. Although electric vehicles offer numerous benefits over traditional gasoline powered cars, they also have some disadvantages that we should be taken into account. Charging infrastructure. Although the quantity of public charging stations is increasing, the charging infrastructure for EV is not as ambiguous as gas stations. As a result, it can be more challenging to locate a charging station when necessary, particularly in rural or remote regions. Charging time. Charging an EV takes longer than filling up a gas car, which can be inconvenient for some drivers. Even with fast charging, it can take several hours to fully charge an EV compared to just a few minutes to fill up a gas car. Limited availability. While EVs are becoming more common, they are still not as widely available as gas cars, particularly in certain regions or countries. This can make it more difficult to find the specific make and model of EV that you want. Okay, the last thing we're going to cover is going to be the global electric vehicle market highlights. Global electric car sales for March 2023 were up from 16% year over year to 28% shares. China's sales were up 23% to 34% share. Europe was up 23% to 29% share. As you can see, the EV market is getting bigger and bigger. People are trying to reduce their carbon footprints on this planet. Therefore, the US is even providing several incentives for electric vehicles to encourage people to adopt this new concept and reduce greenhouse gas emission. Some of the benefits that they're offering benefits such as tax credit on new qualifying EVs. Some states are offering incentives like rebates, tax credit, or lower registration fee depending on the states. Some states are even allowing EV to use the HOV lanes even if there's only one occupant in the vehicle to save and reduce congestion for EV drivers. So this is the conclusion of my presentation on emerging trend. I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you again.